Hello guys, this is Biz Pixel, and today for this part of our tutorial, we're going to talk about animation and flipping our character and basically getting you guys familiar with the animator. Okay, as you know, we did a few things last time, which was the ground check just to make sure everything was running smoothly. Um so if I press play here, as you can see, it just moving around. No animation except for that idle animation. So what we're gonna do right now is that we're gonna go into a player, and then we're gonna click this box right here, and then we're gonna create a new clip. I'm gonna call this Pizzle block or whatever you guys want to call it. And so now that we have our new animation timeline, we're gonna go into our art folder, and we are going to collect our two animation movements. We're gonna drag these two sprites, and then we're gonna put them right into the animation panel. As you can see now, you have we have both of our sprites here, and both of them are on the same timeline, and they're animating our character, which is in that scene right here. So now that we have this, what we want to do is turn down the sampling as well, because it's a little bit too fast. Let's make something a little simple. Not 1060, that's awful. There you go. It's a little walking animation. So remember to take off the record so that you don't record anything else when you start moving around the scene or anything like that. So we're gonna take that off. And so we're gonna go into our animator panel. Let me just go back here. Go into our animator panel. And as you can see, these are different states. So now what we have here is our Pizzle walk animation and our tile set, which is basically our idle animation. I haven't renamed it, so that's my fault on my part. I should have renamed it. But this is our idle animation, and this is our walking animation. And any state is basically from any state. If the transition is true, false, or float, it reaches to a certain maximum. Actually, I'll just show you guys instead. So I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Um, so if you click this plus button right here in your parameters, what we want to do is create a float called move speed. Okay, we created this float move speed for a reason. We're going to use this to activate in our script to set a reference to. But let me just jump into our coding real quick since we got everything set up right now. So we're going to create a private animator. And we're going to call the animator, what should we call it? Let's call it anim. A lot of people do that, anim. So we're going to be using what other people use basically. So as you know, since we're accessing the animator, what we want to do is that we want to tell our script to activate. To get the component. So anim will equal to get component animator. So what happens now is that for our player, when the script is activated, anim is going to get the component animator for our object, which is the player. So now that we have that, and that's being accessed in the start function, we are going to start setting up some variables, I would say. So what we want to do is in void update, we're gonna do anim set float, and then we're gonna say we're gonna access our reference, which is move speed. And then we're gonna access our physics. So we're gonna get a component, rigid body, 2D, and as you can see, velocity. We want to get the velocity. Get component, rigid body, 2D, velocity. That's right. X. So what's happening here is that we are accessing our rigid body, velocity. As you see, as multiple times in our script, we have it, and it says rigid body, velocity, yada, yada, yada. I forgot the parentheses. So we're going to get a rigid body, get a component, rigid body. And then what we're going to do is that since we don't want this, we want this to remain positive, we're going to set that to math ABS. Now what this does is just that it makes everything positive, basically. So as you guys see, we set our move speed in a parameter of our animator, and now what we want to do is access it through our script. So through our animator, as you can see, get a component animator, and then set float, which is what we used for our parameters for move speed. Accessing the move speed, math ABS, get component, rigid body, velocity X. Set this function into to become a positive. I thought if I said that wrong. I probably said that wrong. And as you can see, it says get component, rigid body, 2D, velocity X. It's something that we use constantly to make our character move. So that's what we're accessing. So we could probably set this to, so like every time you're, I would say, I almost made a mistake here too. I don't want to put that there. Making mistakes. So every time your character moves, what we're going to do is access move speed so our character could move. So what's happening is that since we got that down packed, what we want to do is go back here. We're going to make a transition to Pizel walk, and then we're going to make a transition back to the idle. So what we're going to do is that you're going to come down to the transition arrows. You're going to select that. It has exit time. We don't want exit time. We don't want no delays at all. So we're going to set everything here to 0. So just in case. And if move speed is greater than, how would we say, 0.1, then we're going to move to an animation, our animation and walking animation. So it's going to be the same way for this, but it's going to be opposite. So it's going to be less than. So we're going to go to the plus, the move speed, and then less than 0.1. And that would make us go back into our animation. Now let's check this out and see if everything's working right. Oh, I didn't even save the script. Make sure you save the script as well. As you can see, it's moving now. Look at that. Crazy, huh? I'm actually going to turn down the move speed a little bit so you guys can see it a little bit better. And then he stops. There you go. That's cute. Now, one thing that I've noticed is that our character is actually not flipping. It's not translating at all. Before I said, oh, AUD5 translates by the character by itself. It seems like. Don't take that out of context. What I meant was that the idle animation itself just moves and switches. But what we have to do in order for this to flip is that we got to go back into a script. So we're going to go back into a script. And then for our flip player. By the way, I put these here so I can make a comment. So it just tells me what section of code I'm dealing with. So as we know, we access the rigid body to make our animation move, right? So what happens if we could somehow use the local scale of our character and flip it if the rigid body is less than 0 or more than 0? Let's try that out. So if we could copy this actually instead of constantly rewriting it. So if get component rigid body 2D dot velocity dot x is, how about this, less than 0, so if our move speed is somehow less than 0, which means it's going in the opposite direction, let's transform local scale equal new vector 3. New vector 3. 1f, 1f, 1f. So basically, as you can see here, these are x, y, and z. Since you're accessing vector 3, we're accessing x, y, and z of our floats. So we're gonna put this in parentheses, and we have this going on now. As you know, since this is all 1, that means our original animation is going to be set once our we say if our rigid body is greater than 0. Before I think I said less than 0, but my fault, I meant greater than. So we're gonna go into else if, and we're gonna get component again, rigid body 2D, which is over here, velocity x. Now if 0 is greater than our rigid body velocity x, spelled that wrong, look for those silly mistakes. So if we access it, if our rigid body velocity x is less than 0 itself, we are going to transform the local scale to negative 1f for the x. Since our move speed is basically dealing with the x value, so we can just access the first one, not y or z. We're going to access the first one. So let's save this to see what happens. As you can see, our character flips now. What is happening right now is that once you know our move speed is 1, correct? So our rigid body 2D of x is going to be more than 1. So once that's more than 1, it translates normally. As you can see, it just translates normally. This is 1, 1. Okay, I'll show you again. 1, 1, 1. Okay, so when it's less than 0, that means if it's going in the opposite direction, it's going to go negative 1. 1, negative 1. Negative 1, 1. And now you got a working, walking animation. Okay. Okay, so one more thing I actually want to show you guys before I end this video is that we're gonna quickly go into our animation panel and quickly create a new clip called Pizel Walk. Oh, not Pizel Walk. What the hell I'm doing? Oopsie. My fault. Let me go and see if I corrected this. See if everything is back to normal. Okay. I don't know why I did that. Pizel Jump. So we're going to create an anim called Pizel Jump. So what's going to happen is that we're going to do the same thing as we did to Pizel Walk. We're going to grab our jumping animation. Simply drag and drop it into the area. And we're going to see how that works. Okay. So we got that now. Okay. Pizel Walk, Pizel Jump, and our idle animation. So we have that. And what's going to happen now is that since we got Pizel Jump, we got a new state. So what I want to do is that I want to access I want to actually create a parameter called which is a bool called, I would say, grounded. So you could do either way. You could go from any state, or you could go from the idle state. So what I'm going to do is actually go from the idle state. Actually, no. I should go to any state. I'm going to make a transition. And then I'm going to go to our conditions of our transitions. I'm going to go to plus. I'm going to put this as grounded. If ground is true, actually, if grounded is false, our animation is going to be set to Pizel Jump. And then we're going to go back into our idle if grounded is true. So from any state, what's happening is that our animation is going to change to Pizel Jump. But of course, you can't just only do it in here. You got to go back into your code. So instead of anim set float, what you want to do is anim set bool. So if anim set bool, set reference to grounded, like we did to move speed. And if what we want to do is that if grounded, which is it's not grounded, my fault, it's platform. Why was I thinking that? If platform, my fault, grounded will be the reference to our platform. If we touch our platform, basically our bool will be set to true. So if that's true, then it's going to go back to our idle animation or our walking animation if we're moving at that time. And so since our grounded is reference to our platform, so if, for example, if our platform is false, if grounded is false, then we jump. So let's actually mess with that a little bit. Oh, it keeps doing it, huh? It's copy from the anim state. Hold on, let me check this. Oh, with this, if random is set true, it sets up to false. What will happen? Huh. That's interesting. Okay, we're gonna do something differently. I don't know why is it doing that. If instead of using, did I save? I didn't even save, guys. My fault. Remember to save is a point. Still not doing it, huh? Strange. Alright, guys. So, so the thing is that if I press play, it starts to work now. For some reason, it wasn't working before. I'm not sure what happened there. But I went back into the code and I set everything back into normal. So grounded false. I believe it was the exit time. I had this on and I believe it delayed it. So make sure you check on the exit time as well. So now what we have is our movement and we have our jump animation. And now everything just works well with each other. Alright, well, this is all I have to show you guys for today. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please like, share, subscribe, and peace out, baby. Hello guys, this is Lil Pizel, and today we're going to continue on from part 3 of our Unity tutorial series, and we are going to